Recently, we've all been hearing more and more about leveraging automation for our self-storage properties. I've been transitioning some of my own third-party managed properties over to this automated model, and I would love to share with you what made these sites a successful automated self-storage business. What I've learned and implemented has become the premise for my new guide, 3 Mile Storage Presents 3 Steps to Self-Storage Automation, and I want to send you access for only $1. Any self-storage owner can dramatically increase the value of their business by following this training. We're going to talk about live remote managers, contactless rentals, maintenance management, marketing, property management, and how to connect it all together. Plus, you'll also get some amazing bonuses for free. Bonus number 1, interviews with owners and operators using this automated model. Bonus number 2, a free analysis of the online attention your self-storage business is getting, because we all know attention equals rentals. Bonus number 3, free DaVinci lock. Bonus number 4, digital copy of the 3 Mile Storage book. And bonus number 5, a free 30-minute one-on-one implementation call. So go to 3mileautomation.com today to unlock mind-blowing value with automated self-storage. And as another bonus for those that take action today, you'll also be invited to join me and OpenTech Alliance on a one-day self-storage automation masterclass. You don't want to miss it. Again, go to 3mileautomation.com. Hi everyone, this is Jerry Moss from the Self Storage Show. Today I got a special guest. I got Seth Bent with me today. He's the founder of Red Dot Storage, and now he's the founder and CEO of Storage Exchange. What's going on, Seth?
Not too much. How are you today?
Not too much, whatever. You're busy. You're always busy. No, yeah. Things are good. Things are good. It's kind of fun doing these kind of things and just kind of keeping my finger on the pulse on what's going on, since we don't have the trade shows and stuff like that right now. So this is kind of filling in the gaps a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's good to have the chance to connect, and happy to be here.
Good, good. Yeah, if you don't mind, let's just kind of start off with a little bit, the little Seth Bent background. Kind of tell us your little self-storage story and journey, and we'll get
my journey in storage. Yeah, so I first got sort of exposed to self-storage while working in banking in Chicago back in the early 2000s, and thought it was a really interesting industry and decided I actually wanted to pursue it. So I did that via brokerage, and I was with Marcus and Millichap for 4 years, and then with MJ Partners for 3 years, based in Chicago. Learned a lot about the industry, and I saw a segment in the industry that I thought was particularly interesting, which is a secondary, tertiary markets, and applying technology to create value. That thesis ultimately turned into Red Dot Storage, which I founded in 2013. And I ran Red Dot until first quarter of 2019. And that was a great experience. And I stepped down as CEO, took some time off, and started Storage Exchange in, I guess, about a year ago. Yeah, so sort of interesting. I think as a broker, I had a chance to observe the industry, saw some opportunities as an owner-operator, and as an owner-operator, had the chance to sort of observe some other services in the industry and saw an opportunity sort of back in brokerage. Well, sort of a spin on brokerage, but yeah, so that's where I am today.
That's cool. Yeah, you have a neat perspective kind of on that journey of making sure what you're doing now is providing great value. And I was kind of checking out the website before we got on. It looks pretty slick. Yeah, we talked about Red Dot. That'll be another conversation. That's a whole thing by itself, which is pretty awesome. But with Storage Exchange, yeah, kind of let us know what's it all about, what's going on.
So the real idea behind Storage Exchange is, I think in this day and age, in today's market, the most valuable commodity out there is really the data. And I really view the job of a broker brokering a transaction as really to serve as a conduit of data between parties and between the marketplace. And as over the course of building my previous company and deploying a lot of capital into the industry and working with a lot of brokers, I felt like there was sort of a disconnect between what the brokerage community was providing and what what buyers and sellers really want and need to make, I think, thoughtful investment decisions. So the real idea is to try to create, to create storage exchange, which is really, I describe it as more of a transaction platform than actually brokerage. I mean, technically we're licensed brokers in order to do what we're doing. But the goal is to really try to facilitate highly efficient transactions. And the way to try to do that is really leverage the best possible data that allows for, I think, the most thoughtful decision-making and the most insight into the deals to create ultimately transaction efficiency.
Okay. Can you give a little more insight? Like what kind of data we talking about that kind of helps the
Yeah, so the information that I want to be able to provide, I describe as sort of operator-centric type data. So it's really meant to be I think it's the true sort of raw data that owners need to see, and whether it's a seller or a buyer, they need to understand, and they need to be synthesizing the most relevant data to make the best possible investment decision. And that's either a decision to sell for a seller, obviously, or a decision to buy for a buyer.
Yeah.
And so, it's providing, I think, the maximum transparency into, in today's market, obviously supply is a big deal. Understanding supply, understanding demand, understanding the opportunities that exist within the actual operations of a facility or of a portfolio. And I think understanding how to overlay the different types of data that are out there that ultimately generate the metrics that are relevant in making, investment decisions.
Yeah.
And, the storage industry is changing so quickly, like all industries today. I mean, our entire economy is it just seems to be changing at light speed.
Yeah.
And I think as more and more capital flows into the storage industry, there's really there's a lot of very smart, very technical investors coming into the space. And so I think in order to really accommodate the needs that are really growing within the industry, that's what we really need to be focused on is the best possible data and how to leverage the power of that data and how to create, like I said, best visibility, best insights, and the most efficient transactions.
Gotcha. Yeah, you mentioned the word transparency. That's huge. I just being I'm in the operations business, and just on my side, sometimes I get stuck in the middle talking with brokers and sellers and looking at deals. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like the transparency part of the part is that's like second. That's not that important. That's just here's the highlights. Give us an offer. Like no.
Exactly. I mean, as someone that's deployed hundreds of millions of dollars into the storage industry, I can tell you that the transparency is the most important thing. Those insights are critical. Yeah. And I don't want to. There's nothing that sort of bothers me more than when I see an unpriced property based on pro forma, subjective pro forma information.
Yep.
And I can tell you that, and it's not just me speaking, it's any XYZ capital source that's flowing into the industry, that's buying, that information is not helpful. And if you want to advocate for your seller, then you need to understand what the buyer needs and wants. And so if you can ultimately facilitate that and generate real demand, real excitement about an opportunity, then you're ultimately going to be able to deliver the best possible outcome for the seller as well. So you have to understand the buyer to benefit the seller. And so I think that's a kind of a key component to what I'm trying to accomplish.
No, that's I'll be an advocate for that all day long, because there's sometimes it's once you start looking, it's a little smoke and mirrors kind of a thing going on. Like no. So,
I think that's exactly right. So that's I want to try to take the guesswork out of it, and like I keep saying, is really make it about serving as a conduit of information between parties, and really try to create that efficiency and try to create that visibility into the deal or into the property or whatever, the market or whatever it may be.
Sure. So with this platform, again, I'm totally new to it as well, kind of looking at it. Is it meant for like brokers contact you or sellers contact you, or how does that work?
It's really meant for buyers and sellers. So, we're focused on representing sellers that want to take their property to the marketplace and want to sell. But we're also focused on trying to attract buyers to our site so we can share information with them and try to get them, interested in deals and show them what the opportunities are that are out there. And so I'd say sort of the two components to our platform is one, we have a market research tool embedded into our website that allows for potential buyers to run sort of real-time analytics on properties. So looking at supply, demand, rate analysis, overlaying with a whole variety of demographic filters, and and it provides for some pretty meaningful insights into what's really going on in that market. And that's an example. Like, that's the kind of insights I want people to have and to see. And then in terms of the information that we provide in our investment overview to either buyer or seller, we're not focused so much on the pro forma. We're focused on what is the state of the property today, and we want to provide all the information to allow people to make an investment decision. Now, if they want our input in terms of how to think about the operations, what are ways to maximize value, what could we do with expenses, what can we do on revenue? If they want to get that input from us, then I'm more than happy to dig in, get into the weeds and operations. I love that side of the business, but I'm reluctant to build, a complete sort of offering based off of this pro forma information that oftentimes is attached to nothing. It's sort of made up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of projections. Like, if this happens, everything's perfect, and 12 months.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if the stars align perfectly, this is what could happen. And I think, like I said, obviously I've bought a lot of self-storage properties over the years, and I know what buyers want. But that's important, though, because by understanding what the buyer wants, then I'm better able to serve a seller. So that's really it.
No, I mean, said, with your experience, yeah, you're providing a unique perspective on this with the operations as well, and as far as the brokerage and being able to, like I said, being transparent on what's going on at that particular site. It's a great service, man. It looks really cool. I think
one of the other things that I also touching on the operation side, I think that my background as an operator is somewhat unique. I've developed a lot of proprietary technology and systems to support the management and operations of storage properties. And so I think as people are deploying a lot of capital into the storage space, and they're thinking about ways to innovate and ways to apply, they're looking at a deal and saying, how can I unlock value in this thing? I love to be able to dig in with those people and say, here's where you could apply the power of anything. It could be online rentals, it could be a kiosk at the property. Here's how you can leverage the power of a call center and tied into a mobile app, or whatever it may be. But there's just a lot of cool tools out there that I love that stuff. But again, that I'm just one guy, and so I'm not going to bake that into the price and say this is what you have to do in order to accomplish this value. And so I think there's a bit of a consulting role to play as well, but it's based off of real world experience.
Yep. Oh yeah, well, the real world experience speaks volumes, because sometimes it's just that other perspective of looking at something that you can just say something that, again, it's not like it's a hard, fast rule. Like, you have to do this, you have to do that. I get that. It's just a matter of opening up people's eyes and going, well, here's some of the value you may not have seen that's untapped. And you just flip that little switch and cool, there's the opportunity. So I get that.
Yeah, and I think that can benefit sellers and buyers alike. I mean, it's to have that kind of input. I think it's unique, and it's something I enjoy, and I think it does unlock a lot of value for all parties.
Oh, totally. Well, it's very timely, because, like you said earlier in our discussion, this storage is hot. I keep thinking it's going to start dying down, but it just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and all the money's starting to flow into it. So the more services that can be provided like this, that's like, keep coming back to the transparency work. So I like that, just because open and honest, and here's what it is, and let's just find the best value for you. Yeah, the kind of service right now is very, very needed.
Yeah, and that's a part of my broader thesis. I think having raised and deployed a lot of capital into the storage industry, my goal now is I don't want to just go raise another fund and compete against all these other funds that have come in space. I want to build a service platform to help service all the capital that's coming in and try to create value for all these other capital sources.
No, that's fantastic. So yeah, as we're talking here, I'm kind of thinking of people are listening to this and they're wondering what the fee structure might be if they want to participate. So how does that work with you guys with Storage Exchange?
Yeah, it's a good question. So our fee structure is a little bit different than traditional brokerage. So our maximum fee is 2.5%. and then we put a floor in of $20,000 and a ceiling or a cap at $100,000. And the thought there is that by sort of when I say right sizing the fees, kind of streamlining the fees a little bit, it's less of an obstacle in the deal. And so I think that we should be compensated for the value that we create, but it shouldn't be disproportionate, really. Yeah. And I also, I don't want our fees to be an obstacle in the deal as well. So I think that kind of falls in line with the concept of transaction efficiency. And I don't want owners getting stuck on what our fee structure is. I want them to focus on how we're going to maximize value in the transaction and deliver the best possible outcome for them.
Nice. Again, I'm kind of a newbie with this, so how is that kind of different from others in the marketplace?
So typically, at least in my past life as a broker and my experience in working with brokers, the deals. So we're focused primarily in the non-primary markets, and so the transaction size where is kind of our strike zone. The fees are typically going to be closer to 6%. And they're also, they tend to be negotiated on every deal. And so I think part of our approach is to try to put out what I think is a really reasonable fee and put that out front. And so it's, it's not sort of a sticking item in the listing process and in the deal process.
Oh, gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Again, kind of goes back to the transparency thing we were talking about. It's like, here, it is what it is. So
that's exactly right. I think, I've said this, a few times to other folks, but I think, the fees shouldn't be punitive to the seller. If they're making a decision to sell, they should be able to do that, get professional support through the broker process and the transaction process. And I don't want our fees to become an insurmountable, obstacle for a seller. I want them to, always get compensated, but I want us to be able to get the deal done. And so, yeah, I don't want to make the whole discussion around our fees.
Yeah, no, that's great. Cool.
Yep.
Fantastic. So those that are, listening to this and watching this, if you want to get more information, how do people reach out to you?
You can go to storageexchange.com. That's obviously our website. I'm available at Seth at storageexchange.com. And well, I'm not going to give you my cell phone number.
No, don't worry about
that. Yeah, I would say go to the website, email me, and yeah, we'd love to talk to folks about what we're up to and see if we can be helpful.
Sounds like a plan, right? Well, thank you very much for taking the time, Seth.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Take care.
All right, you too. See ya.
All right.